If you had to name one thing everyone wishes they had more of, what would it be? I know what you're thinking. Money. But that's actually not the answer I was looking for. The answer I was looking for was time. We're actually talking about time today. Time is the correct answer. Because money, you can make it back one day. You could spend it all today and make it back tomorrow. In fact, I would say time is our least renewable resource and therefore our most valuable. How often have you said, I just wish I had more time. There's just not enough time in the day. We talk about time like it's this slippery thing that we just can't quite hold on to. And honestly, it kind of is. And that's why this conversation matters, because most of us know where our money goes in theory. We budget it in theory. We track it. Heck, we even have apps that send us updates every time someone spends money out of our account, how much was spent, what it was spent on, how much is left. Some people actually pay advisors, like pay people good money to tell them what to do with their money. But our time, we don't even know where it goes. We spend it. We waste it. We squander it, reacting our way through our days, hoping that eventually we'll feel caught up. But you never do. In fact, you wake up already feeling behind. You move through your day performing instead of participating, checking boxes, answering pings, saying yes to what's loudest instead of what's lasting. And when the house finally goes quiet, you're left with that feeling at night of, I did everything, but did any of it matter? Hey, I'm Mary Ashley, and welcome to the podcast. I'm an executive coach to high-capacity women, especially working moms who want to be present at home and succeed at work, and not just survive both, but do both really, really well. Over the last couple of episodes, we've talked about why high-capacity women need an operating system for life, a framework that starts with identity, knowing who you are and what you value and how to spend your days accordingly. Because when you don't know who you are, you build your life on everyone else's expectations. But when you do, everything aligns. Your goals, your rhythms, your decisions, your peace. We've also talked about the lies of hustle culture. This idea that if you just try harder, you will finally feel enough. Spoiler, if you haven't gotten to that episode yet, you probably won't. And today we are talking about another silent thief keeping high-capacity women stuck and sleepless, how they spend their time. Here's what I've learned. Time is a heart issue before it's a calendar issue. We think the problem is that we just don't have enough of it. But if we're honest, we don't always steward it well. You get pulled into everyone else's expectations. You operate from what I call a reactive calendar, where you start the day with or without a plan, and then you just run from notification to notification, putting out fire after fire. You start the day with this hopeful excitement, and you end it with exhaustion and guilt, asking yourself, where did it all go? A reactive calendar runs on urgency and weak boundaries and blurred priorities. It trades peace for pressure and presence for productivity. And it's sneaky because it feels like you are responding to what's important. But every reactive yes steals from what actually matters: your peace, your presence, your purpose. And the longer you live that way, the easier it becomes to confuse activity with impact. And now here is another great example of me coaching from the messy middle alongside you, learning all of this too, right? Rather than from the mountaintop where I have it all figured out. If my mom is listening, and I know she is, so hi, Mom. She's probably laughing that I, her third child, am trying to coach anyone on the importance of time or how to manage it better. But that's exactly why I care so much, because I know what it feels like to look at my week and think, how am I possibly going to fit all of this in? And then end my day tired and guilty and convinced I didn't do enough, even though I'm actually exhausted from doing all the things. There are a few reasons that time feels so slippery for us. Number one is that it's actually avoidance disguised as rest, right? We're going to touch on this more next episode, but we lose hours to the scroll, to TV, to whatever our thing is. And please do not hear me say delete every app, never watch Netflix again. Absolutely not. Those are part of my rhythm. I love them. I saw a meme the other day that was so funny. It made me laugh so hard that I said out loud, this is literally why I cannot delete social media, because people are so funny and they're so gifted at weird things, and they should not hide their light under a bushel. But most of the time, if we are honest, we are not using those things intentionally. They are not recreation. They are avoidance. Number two is we misjudge our capacity. We literally just underestimate how long things take. My two older kids are in preschool and kindergarten this year. So when my third baby arrived just a few months ago, I had legitimately forgotten what it was like to care for an infant and how long it takes just to feed her. 2 hours a day. I did the math, and it's not consecutive, but on average, I spend about 2 hours a day either breastfeeding or pumping. So I had to literally shift my perspective and account for those 2 hours that I had previously had to do literally anything else. Those hours didn't just disappear, they changed shape. So my plan had to change too, and I had to give myself a lot of grace. How often, though, do you allot an hour for something on your calendar, but it actually takes like an hour 20? Throw in a couple of those a day, and your day has just snowballed to playing catch up all day. Number three, other people's priorities overshadow our own. If you do not plan your time, someone else will. Some of my clients actually work in an environment that their calendar is available for anyone else to see and for anyone else to put a meeting on. So anyone could put a meeting on your calendar at any time. It's actual insanity to me. And outside of work, you have the volunteer signups and the class parties and the can you just whatever requests that pile on. If we do not plan our time, it will go to the highest or the loudest bidder, which leaves me to number four. We think we don't have time to plan. We tell ourselves that we are too busy to plan our week, but not planning is actually what costs us the most. They say, fail to plan, plan to fail. And it's cliche because it's true. So now here is the part that really gets me. As I mentioned earlier, you can make more money, but you can't make more time. Money is renewable, but time is not. Once it's spent, it's gone. There is nothing that puts this more into perspective for me than when I start envisioning the life that I want to have, which is part of the work I do with my clients, right? So envision a desired reality a year from now, 5 years from now, 50 years from now. And it's the notion that if we don't have a vision for our life, it's like setting out on a road trip without a destination in the Apple Maps. How do you even know where you're going or how to get there? But nothing hits me harder when I do this envisioning exercise. And I always start with how old my kids will be in that vision. That's like what puts it in perspective for me. So in 1 year, when I want my life to look like this, my oldest will be 7. My middle child will be 5 and a half. The baby will be 1. When I think about 5 years from now, when I want my life to look like this, he will be 11. She will be 9. The baby will be headed to kindergarten. I can't even say it without getting upset or tearing up because it's happening, right? God willing, that is happening. And that perspective changes everything. I remember after my first son was born, I had been in this season of achieving and hustling for so long and seeking worth from all of these different places. And when that baby was born, it shifted everything, right? It's like this giant bomb of a weight that just drops down into your bucket of life, and everything else gets moved out of the way. Everything kind of takes shape around that baby, that new life, and as it should. And the things that seemed so important and so dire before just lost a little bit of its significance. The things that mattered so much, they worried about so much, kind of paled in comparison to this new life. That perspective changes everything for me. And that's the tension I think we hold as working moms. Every time you waste an afternoon chasing someone else's definition of success or numbing out in hustle mode, you are giving away moments you cannot get back. And that is why this conversation matters. This isn't about productivity. It is about presence. It's about being present in the moments that I will never get back while building something that will leave a legacy for those exact tiny humans. It's about stewarding the only resource that does not renew. So, what do we do with that? Besides maybe curl up in the fetal position for a minute and cry. We plan and we steward. You look at what you've been given and you budget it just like you would your finances. Psalm 90 tells us, teach us to number our days so we may gain a heart of wisdom. We accept the fact that our days and the hours in our days are limited. So wisdom starts with clarity. And that is exactly what we do and why we do it inside the aligned action framework. We get crystal clear on the roles that only you can play. Or even said another way, I always like to think about it like the parable of talents in Matthew 25. What are the bags of gold that God has given you that are unique to you, that are unique to the work that God has called you to do in your time on this earth? And we'll all have different bags. What are the unique responsibilities and relationships that God has entrusted to you? Your faith, your marriage, your motherhood, your leadership, your team. And then we define what excellent stewardship looks like in each of those roles. What does it look like when you are the best version of yourself in that role? And what rhythms support that vision? And then we literally budget those behaviors in, right? We create an ideal week of starting with those non-negotiables like work and meals and rest and movement, just like our basic biological needs. And then we layer in habits that will support that life that you are called to build. And then we surrender. There is something very humbling, especially as high capacity women who think that if we can just work enough, hard enough, fast, long, all the things, that we can make it happen. It's really humbling to come face to face with your limitations and coming face to face with the fact that you are finite. You only have so much time in the day. You are finite. Your time is finite. God is not. And just like Jesus fed the 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish, we trust that God will multiply what we do in the time allotted to us for his glory and for our good. And we may never see how far that reaches in our lifetime, but we can know that it's true. And we can trust him with the rest. Here's the thing about time. Even if you master your calendar, and I hope you do, that is one of the goals inside the Aligned Action Framework, that you will take what we do and you are able to master your calendar. Even if you do that, it is only one piece of the puzzle, because how you spend your time is shaped by what you believe about yourself. And if your identity is tangled up in performance or pleasing people, even the best schedule will not save you from burnout. So next week, we are talking about what happens when your energy defaults to coping, why you keep scrolling, sipping, striving, even when what you really need is rest. If this episode hit home for you, if your time is slipping through your fingers and you are ready to build a system that actually supports the life you want, and I want to personally invite you inside the Aligned Action Framework. You can apply through the link here below or in the show notes. It is my one-on-one coaching program for high-capacity women, especially working moms, who are ready to trade reactivity for rhythm, burnout for clarity, and constant motion for momentum. Inside the framework, we get clear on who you are, what matters most, and how to design your days around that so you can finally stop feeling behind and start leading your life on purpose. You can learn more and apply at the link below or in the show notes. And if this episode helped you, share it with a friend who might need that same reminder today. You never know how one conversation can shift someone's week or maybe even their life. And lastly, would love for you to follow or subscribe so you do not miss any of the episodes ever again. See you soon.